Happy Thursday, everybody. Another episode of Politics with Pan. I'm here with my man, Mississippi's finest.
Yes.
That boy,
Thank you.
Jeremy Peaches. What's up, player?
I'm good, man. Just
Nothing
taking
much,
care of
man.
some business. That's about it. Good to really chop it up with you.
Yeah, man. Likewise. I appreciate you coming on the pod this Thursday. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in, everybody that has tuned in and will tune in. But I'm gonna continue my conversation from off camera. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if y'all noticed. You know what I mean? But my little baby fro is extremely crisp today.
Yeah.
Uh,
Steve Harvey-ish.
Yeah, man. Shout out to that boy Joe, man. Joe put them enhancements on me. I got a gray hair over here somewhere that you can't see no more. He sprayed that boy black. He can like,
Yeah, hey, I understand. Little
man,
Beijing.
bro. You ever had? So this is my first time. This ain't my first time being Beijing. I
Yeah.
had a I had a barber. I ain't gonna say his name because I ain't gonna do him like that.
You know
Cause
you can't do that.
he's giving me no. This ain't the guy that did this. I don't think he's ever messed up a haircut that I can think of.
Yeah.
But that specific barber, he butchered my hairline so bad, and he like Beijing me, like I super Beijing. And I went home for the holiday, and my
Yeah.
brother and my daddy seen me. I went and washed it off, and they was like, "Damn, son!" Like yeah, whatever. He Beijing me to cover up that he butchered my hairline.
No,
Now,
for sure. Enhancements.
yeah, and that's what Joe was like, "Yo, man, let me hit you with them before the show, man. You gonna kill him today, boy."
Egging you on, everything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, shout out to Joe, right? You know what I'm saying?
Joe, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's a
Joe,
nice
man.
haircut. It's a nice haircut. You feel me? But I don't know if I will be continuing the enhancements. Like I don't know. You a Beijing guy?
No, I'm not a Beijing guy. I mean, but man, the older I'm getting, I am seeing a little gray right here. I'm like, man, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut it down, but hey, I'm learning to embrace it a little bit, man. But what they call them at 50-15, like the silver foxes.
This, nah, I don't want to. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey,
I
man,
don't know.
PV.
I don't know if I got like if it got to that point, like if I had that much gray hair, I don't know if I would dye it. I don't think I would do that. I think I would
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm more of the, because if we didn't have edge ups, I would be out here looking like Martin Luther King. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Everywhere.
Yeah, just what I mean, hairline up here, like they was just loving you for who you are. Boys weren't like, yeah, I'm gonna kill,
For real.
hey, unless they got a
Naps and all, man.
super naps. Unless they got them conks. The boys was rocking them perms. If I was alive back then, I probably would have had a perm.
Yeah. I would pull out the conch. Yeah, I
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
would.
yeah. I'd have been out here looking like Young Jock.
Yeah. Ah, man. Radio Young Jock. But
Yeah,
every generation, it changes and then it revert back. So, you know, right now it might be, 60, 70 times, the perms.
yeah. No, if I see boys walking around with conks, I know something. I know something is going on. Like for sure.
Yeah.
So man, let's get into the meat of this, dog. So Jeremy,
Yeah.
for those who don't know you,
Yeah.
let everybody get to know who you are. Like, how does a brother from you from Greenville?
Yeah, I was born in Greenville, Mississippi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greenville, Mississippi. You grew up in Houston. How did you
Yeah.
end up being a farmer?
Man, that is wild because it's a twofold, and you know what? I've been interviewed a lot of times, and I don't think nobody I've given this example of it. So for one, my earliest memory of like farming comes from like my mama leaving, Greenville, Mississippi, coming to Houston, to have a better life. But I'm just seeing all these fields, And I haven't been that far into like Texas, so I'm seeing the fields in Texas. I'm seeing the fields in Louisiana. When you cross over Mississippi, you get into Arkansas a little bit. So I just remember seeing that. But growing up in Houston, we trail ride and just that whole agriculture thing was kind of normal. But I still grew up in the city, so I ended up going to PV for agriculture and doing well with that. But my real last name is Peaches. So when I got older, I had the opportunity to kind of like do some research on just my family and the historical fact about my family. And also, you know, it make you open up like, okay, where did our last name come from? Which a lot of they had a lot of peach orchards in Bovina, Mississippi, at the LaGrange Plantation. And the area where my family is from in Bovina, about Vicksburg, is basically the plantation. So, you see the last name and it's like, my people probably been doing this, or they have. My
Yeah,
grandfather in Greenville, man, Leroy Peaches, he always grew a big garden, on my family property and fed the community. And again, like, I'm not knowing this stuff till I recently, like these last 6, 7, 8 years.
yeah.
As I started getting notoriety with the farming type stuff, my family started actually breaking it down to me like, nah, this is like where you come from, bro. And even my grandmother, she always had a garden, but nah, that's basically where the farming thing come from.
Hmm. That's all
Yeah.
right, man. So like, when did you decide that like agriculture would be like a business for you?
Man, I would say, man, well, I was at Prairie View, because when you go to think about Prairie View agriculture degree versus any other like HBCU ag degree, you're gonna learn all the different disciplines within ag, whether it's meat science, plant science, all those different things. You're gonna learn everything, even though your concentration might be animal science. So my junior year of college, I actually got an internship with the NRCS, and man, they shipped me to West Texas,
Yeah,
in Sweetwater, Texas, and I stayed with like a German family. It was like my homegirl parents, and when I went out there, I was with on these huge ranches. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of acres, bro. That went into almost the next county. Like in the signs, it said population 8, 9, 10.
yeah,
And when I went out to Nolan Ryan Ranch and realized, what's actually going on with, cattle farms in West Texas and stuff like that, I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I need to like take this serious and really understand the side of the industry, the
yeah,
business. But when I graduated PV after working for the USDA, I ended up starting my own company. Well, I came back to my community. I built like an aquaponics greenhouses and facilities, but at Provision, my old middle school, and a school that had a farm on it growing up, that I worked there and was in a manhood development program. But I did that for a few years and learned some things just about the ag business on the nonprofit side, and I ended up starting my own company. And I would say that'll be the beginning of Fresh Life Organic, like the farm, but not Fresh Life. Because even at PV, I threw parties and we was doing like a lot of agriculture activities. I was a senator of ag, so
yeah.
yeah, it was just all been ag almost for like 10, 15 years, man.
I mean, that's beautiful. I didn't really get, though, shout out to the yard, right? Though I
Yeah,
went to Prairie View, I know nothing about agriculture. I would see the farm and things like that. And, as time went on, I learned that you could go over there and buy eggs and get different kinds of produce and things like
right,
that. Like, but, that ain't, when you stand in the UC, that should be something that like the ag department put on the door downstairs,
right.
right? Or something like that. Like it should be promoted better. I feel like I should have known a long time ago that I could get my eggs on campus instead of having to go all the way to goddamn
Yeah, for
Gibson.
$1, they was $1.
Yeah, see, like
Eggs $6 right now, Christian.
they didn't do a good job in promoting that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I didn't get into agriculture until I was introduced to the rodeo here in Houston. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my partners, he real big into the rodeo. He loved going to the rodeo. When I joined Age Bad, we would always get invited to the rodeo gala. So I
Right.
mean, me being from Virginia, I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, so it's like a small city. Ain't no cows and horses and nothing like that, right? And then I'm a military brat, so I had to move from military installation to military installation. So it's still not a lot of farm life, right?
Right.
So when I started going to the rodeo and really started going down to like the showroom, like where they showing the animals and things like that. I think it was maybe like 2-3 years ago. I'm down
Yeah.
there with the homie, and we just down there asking the cattle ranchers questions about breeding the bulls and like what that looks like, and breeding the pigs and and they telling me like how long it takes for a pig to grow to maturity before they can start having, you know, babies and calves, and the amount of money that is in this. And I'm looking around, and it ain't no black people around. Like, right, I didn't see anybody black like selling any bulls, or I might have seen like one or two black kids showing like a pig or something like that. But when you
Right.
seeing all them kids in FFA, they're usually like white and or Hispanic. Like it's very little. There's very little representation, of black children in those spaces. But agriculture is something you can't escape. Like we all got to eat.
Nah. Yeah. Clothes, food, clothes, water, shelter, everything. Black people, transatlantic slave trade, like, agriculture.
Like,
Like,
you know what I'm saying? So when black people hear farming, right? Like, boys think like some wild things, right? Like, you know what I mean?
right.
Like, but how do you think we change the relationship with like farming and agriculture, like especially in this time where like the government isn't really doing the most to protect us, right? And like,
Right.
the your mouth is the portal to like all of your health, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
how do we change that mentality of like our relationship to the soil? Like, how do you talk to people about that?
Man, I'm glad you asked that because, I would say for the last 10 years, for me, it's just been like a lot of educational groundwork on, like you said, when black people, I would say not in the last 6 months to a year, think about agriculture, it's pretty much been like prison to pipeline because everybody locked up in one of the biggest industries is the prison industry, and most of them have farms,
Yeah,
state farms that's generating billions on trillions of dollars. That's for one. So a lot of our black males and women have been in the industrial prison pipeline doing agriculture work and eating goods to a
yeah,
degree. And then too, you looked, you mentioned, our traumas that we've inherently had because of the transatlantic slave trade, and a lot of that was growing sugarcane, cotton, wheat, plantation things. They were working on the farm. So I feel like for our previous generations also too, like you look at my mom and probably their parents, they had to go to the farm every summer and pick peas and all that. So the stories
yeah,
that they had was, man, I'm gonna try to get out the country. I'm not trying to go to mama's house and work on the farm. And the land is the key things, but we just gonna talk about the farm for now.
yeah,
So literally, we've had all these things to overcome. So now you get back to like our generation right now. I think the entryway was kind of COVID a little bit post COVID. Like, hey, people, let me get my health right. Let me get my CMOS. Let me work out. Matter of fact, I got time on my hands. I started gardening. Then is it transcended to what is transcended now? It's become a cool thing. Everybody on social a trend almost. Everybody on social media is doing like gardening, farming, and you know we're starting to get more active and making it more cool. You look at celebrities now like Khalees, Waka Flocka. Even myself as a musical artist that's starting to show the cool artistic side of it and more like a way of life. And I
yeah,
think that's where we're starting to get into to where our next generation, it might be normal for us to grow our own food or hemp or, let me get some land or let me take back the family land and garden and farm so I know where my food coming from. And I think literally in this past 6 months to a year, I think this is in the biggest shift and change I've seen black individuals or people actually intentionally have conversation and try to like let me garden a farm or let me know where my food coming from because
Hmm.
all these recalls that we're starting to see right now. um so we're starting to have that conversation and we're starting to make it cool.
Yeah.
And I think for us, I was just having a conversation earlier. Anything Black people do to some degree, like it's cool. It's gonna follow a trend, and everybody's gonna want to do it. So I think the opportunity there, and this is where we are right now. It's cool. We understand. Now we have room to actually pivot towards actually building communities and systems centered around food, or more garden clubs, more community markets, more farmers markets. So I just think that's where we are right now.
And I don't disagree, right? I mean, well, so before when I lived in Detroit in was it 2020? Like if you never been to Detroit, they probably have the greatest farmers market. The Detroit Farmers Market is
Yeah,
fantastic. It is a fantastic place to go get like fresh fruits and vegetables and like products like that are like homemade. Like I got like the best. I think it was like a barbecue sauce made out of pickles, bro. It was crazy. Like yeah, dog. Like it was insane. Like that was like my first introduction to like a farmer's market. Right. I probably went
real
growing up like with my grandma or something like that, but I don't remember it. Right. It wasn't necessarily like an impactful thing.
right.
But I know then, like I would look forward to going to the Detroit Farmers Market to be able to go get these preserves and the different things that people were bringing, and you could see the difference in the fruit and the vegetables that was grown that they grew versus what you get at the grocery store, right? Like it ain't
Yeah,
all pretty, you know what I mean? That's when you start to learn
yeah,
about they pick certain produce to sell, and then they throw the rest away and things. They do all this other kind of crazy stuff with it instead of like give it to people, which is
mhm.
nuts, right? And I think this is important because people don't really see food as like political, right? But like I live in third ward. It's a food desert, right? You know what I mean? And they had that grocery store on Scott for a long time. People was the H&B on Scott. They were scared to go there. They
I
said people,
know.
you know what I'm saying? Like I never went over there, but I've heard plenty of horror stories about like how terrible it was, right? Like this, and I mean, pretty much every black area in the city of Houston, like there's a lack thereof of fresh food and availability of things that
Right.
will contribute to a healthy, what's they called, gut microbiome.
Right, that's how Black Farmer Box got started. I mean, Fresh House Grocery got started. I'm glad
Oh,
you stated that.
yeah,
So,
okay.
University of Houston did a study 5, 6 years ago that in certain zip codes, which were the complete communities at that time that we knew it, they saw the grocery stores had like low nutrient density and high issues with like gut microbes because the lettuce, again, it's coming from California. It's coming from long distances. Has it been sprayed? We don't know. But that study, at the end of the study, they actually didn't have a solution. They was just like, "Hey, this is what's going on." We did the study. So I think me and Ivy were doing Black Farmer Box, but we were like, "Hey, we stay at Sunnyside. Like, we want to open a store anyway. Let's actually open a store that can have some good choices or some different things that's farmer owned, you know. But that's how, if you go look at the study that U of H did, and it's on the news as well, um, you will kind of see how Houston food system is, or
Yeah,
our
I mean,
food deserts are.
right. And I mean, and it's expensive, and a lot of people, especially in the black community, and I don't know, like, because one thing that used to irk me is, right, we got the HEB over here, and they do the food display, right, where they show you how to cook certain meals and stuff, but they don't teach you shit about your stomach, right? Like,
Nah.
like that's the huge thing, right? And we get all of these public health, this and that, Houston Health, this and that, but nobody is really sitting there and telling your mama like that she gotta have a healthy gut microbiome to be
Right.
able to like regulate the rest of her body. It might help with her gout, it might help with the lack of vision, it might help with all these other kind of things because
Yeah.
they eating boudin, they eating pork chops, they eating rice, they ain't no
Chicken.
green. Timmy Chan's, like, like, cause that's
All
close.
food, because it ain't nothing but some fast food in the hood.
Everything, on
30
every
kid
corner.
restaurant
Yeah, and then they, I read something that that they would qualify like the corner stores, right?
of the
As
corner
like,
store.
yeah, like if it had some oranges and apples in there on the counter, if you could get some milk and butter in
Right,
there, like they would give the stores like a subsidy, like,
for sure.
as for operating as a place where people could come and get fresh food. And these are only in black areas, which is complete and total
Right.
bullshit. Like
Yeah,
it,
because too, like most people in Houston go shop at corner stores because it's close, it's convenient. Like that's all we really have is the corner stores, and a big reason why we don't have more grocery stores and major big box stores. See, grocery stores have a rubric, and I went to. I'm in Austin right now. I went to the Capitol a few years ago, and I talked about this. Grocery stores have a rubric to decide if they want to come to a neighborhood, and it usually has to do with socioeconomic, standards. Like, what is the median? If you don't have the median of individuals that's spending, that makes this amount of money a year or whatever, a grocery store is not going to necessarily come. So you look at the HEB, like look where that HEB is strategically located.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
the previous one was smaller, not a lot. They were probably making a whole bunch of money on Scott.
Oh,
But
for sure, they was killing off Snap.
okay, now look at that intersection right now.
Yeah,
Again, now you still got to travel way over there,
you got to go
and
so far.
right
You got to go so far.
accessibility.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not because I read some, just more reading. I read that most of the people who live east of 59 and 288, most of them don't have cars or
yeah,
cars that are operable, right? Like
right.
they might have a car, but it might not work or it barely work, right?
Hmm.
Like, and the HEB is right by the freeway. But between Scott and the HEB, there's over 1,000 homes
No, for sure,
for
for
sure.
sure.
Over 1,000 homes. How do
You
you
got
get
me
over
even
there?
thinking. Yeah, I was just about to say, you got me even thinking, is it a metro that stopped by HEB on 288 or something? Like, you literally have to, even to walk, because there's nothing but houses in between there. They got a few new apartments and they got the high rises. But, if you coming from over there like off Scott to try to get to HEB and you ride metro, especially in the summertime, hard. You got grandmothers, mamas, and look, most of the people who shop at grocery stores are our mamas, our women, bro.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
really killed me about the food and everything. When just the food safety aspect of it is mamas going into the grocery store trying to make sure they feed themselves, their families, and the kids. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They gonna shop by, look like everything look the same, everything look good, but we are kind of at a point where it's like, man, what's actually in it, or do it have this nutrient density?
yeah,
So I would say like it's probably going to be a huge amount of women who's going to be to take the charge and lead this effort dealing with food. Um, because let's look at it. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
right, right, right.
Men, we probably get out there, go get the food, spend the money on the food, high, whatever. But it's gonna be the mamas want to make sure that we got some good, safe food, for our families.
So, what do you think? Like, so the politicians talk about food deserts all the time.
I
Like,
don't, I do not like that word.
yeah, like, well, whatever you want to call it, right? But like for
Uh,
somebody actually like battling food insecurity, right? We can call it food insecurity. Like, what do you think that the people running Harris County, the city of Houston, what could they do? Like, if they were to implement something tomorrow that would actually help, what is something that they could actually do?
Policy. I'm glad you mentioned Detroit. Detroit I just left Detroit last year. The Bugs, Black Urban Gardeners and Farmers Conference, and I'm always in Detroit. They got so many urban farms, and they so many abandoned lots that they turned into farms and gardens. They opened up the People's Food Co-op, a grocery store. They started giving tax breaks for farmers. They started giving grants and loans for 20, 15, $20,000 that's been reoccurring for the last 2, 3 years to farmers, right? The city started adopting. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta built this first. They have an urban agriculture director, right? They took their COVID funds or their ARPA funds and put it more into urban food systems and growth. Let's look at New York. Let's look at Oakland, California. Like, so, to be honest, Houston, for us to be the first in so many things, I mean, we're kind of lacking in that area as it relates. Like Houston, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm from Houston. Our meaning of food security is, and I love the food bank and I sell to the food bank as well, is, hey, let me do these pop-up food things at churches
Yeah.
and whatever. And they all serve, they are good, but we putting a band-aid and we're not teaching people how to fish and building actual food systems.
Yeah.
Right. And I love everything that I just named for our cities and our communities. Even with the Shrine has done consistently over the last 4 or 5 years on Saturdays giving out food, right? Houston does a great job at it, but policy is what makes change, and policy is what brings dollars. Now, I have $1,000 right now to anybody political campaign that's running right now in Houston and supporting back anybody that can create a policy or put a policy in place for food systems, urban farming and gardening. Right? We have a food insecurity board in the city, and it's built up of paraprofessionals. And I'm not disrespecting or talking about them, but I'm saying that we have to push for more policy, and the dollars are going to trickle down. As we look at HISD in the state of Texas as well, the biggest budget is for food.
Yeah.
If you look at the farm bill, which is going through, and they recalled it because of SNAP and the SNAP changes, biggest budget.
Yeah.
So without food and water, in this country was built off agriculture, right, and our food, right. Even I pushed multiple times to try to get some policy with the county passed. Like, they have urban conservation districts that has never been enacted,
Yeah.
right, to conserve food and water. All this legislation that Boris worked on years ago that it passed, but it hasn't been enacted.
Yeah.
So I think as it relates to this city specifically, is we're missing policies, and the county and the city actually subsidizing things surrounded around the food system or farming and agriculture. Um, yeah, I think I know that's what's needed. Isn't I don't think.
I mean, so what do you think is the holdup?
Oh man, I mean, at different times, I believe it was different things. Because I mean, like I said, we had a lot of traction, um, during COVID, because it was a health thing and they had a lot of dollars. People weren't working, people needed food, and then recently, I think it's been like our cities had huge urbanization. So, of I mean, to me, when it comes to food, we're more reactive than proactive.
Yeah.
Um, I really think it's going to take some real great politicians to actually champion and get some laws established, or some ordinance established to support it. I don't think that we're too far off. I think not Sally Acorn, but it was a city council member that had was doing composting and food programs, and that was a great initiative
I
that
think
last.
that was that I think that was Sally.
It was, I think it
I
was.
think it might have been Sally. I think it might have been Sally. I remember Sally was big on like recycling and like I think
Yeah,
yeah, I think
and
that
she
might have
got
been
some
Sally.
traction. She had some traction on it. But I really just think that I don't think I know. I mean, politics is it's all about laws, bro.
Yeah.
If you're not every session or every opportunity making um laws or ordinance that's not only generate money but like affect policy and change, I mean, everything gonna fall by the wayside. And what I see now is you have a lot of grassroots community activists and people like myself, or people that's just going guerrilla and going rogue. My thing is like, don't use us for the pop up or for the volunteer and this and
Mm-hmm.
that, and don't like. We got a lot of land, underutilized land. I mean, you look at what Recipes of Success did, which is a farm that originally I gave the blueprints from. It's on Reed Road in Scott. But I
Yeah.
mean, they originally got their land for a city lease at $1 a year, 20, 30 years.
Really?
Uh, it gets deep with me, and that's why I'm only going to give this stuff to you. But
Yeah.
um, let's look at, even like when you look at the Sunnyside Solar Farm, it has an agriculture hub piece that we've won. We've been fighting, going back and forth for years, even though we won the bid,
Yeah.
to get land to grow food, you know. So,
But fighting who though?
so you got city. Well, when the city, so the city changes. Like, you had Mayor Turner that was in power for however many years. Now you got a
Mm-hmm.
new regime, and then we have a high turnover rate. So now you get new people in office. You have to restart those projects over, get well acquainted. Somebody quit, somebody retire. But the city has a sustainability department that and complete communities at one time that pretty much manage those projects, but they fall by the wayside when you have people retire and or leave, and new regime. Right. And then they have new things that they want to focus on.
Yeah.
So, which starts again the grassroots fight over with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's be clear. Like, see, I'm not gonna say Houston is a pay to play city, but you
I
know,
mean, does it feel like, as somebody like fighting for, say, community resources and space to be able to, like, because you trying to help create life, right? You trying to do something positive, right? And as somebody trying to do something positive, having to bump up against these systems, do it feel like it's, what I'm saying, you engaging in something that would be easier if you was able to just pay?
yeah, to some degree, and I think that was my thing, because I have grew up in the city and been involved in, community grassroots and geopolitics. It's like, and I mean, I serve in a state position as well. So I understand that, hey, just go, you got to go get the money and just do it yourself,
Yeah.
and do the work, and then have that conversation, because they going to come along as you continue to build, because that's how politics work in some cases.
Yeah.
Though, um, I would be remiss to say it's only so far you can go again without policy.
Yeah.
And that's why I started with that. You know what I'm saying? That's I spent many years at the Capitol to be able to get more urban ag, and we had some huge changes. I think, like I said, 2 years ago, um, Boris did a great thing. I had the opportunity to speak in front of the Senate committee on them on TDA giving grants and loans to farmers, right?
Yeah.
Urban farmers and producers. TDA weren't providing loans. You can only get loans through the USDA for certain things. So, yeah, I mean, we have had changes and great things that come with the fight over time. Even here now recently, our county just put in some verbiage, and they're going to start doing agricultural water rate change.
Mm.
Right, so if you have an agriculture exemption and you've been paying the same water rate, as somebody with a house or a business, that's a community benefit.
Yeah.
Why am I getting charged? So that's what I'm saying. Like, as we continue to fight, some things will change, and it's not necessarily a fight. As we continue to enhance in technology and find new ways to build up food systems in Houston, I think that we will have other political champions that come in and support, and actually create legislation and put some dollars behind it.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, so I some while ago I was introduced to a brother out in Arkansas. Actually one of the only, I think the only black family in America that owns a food processing facility. They own a rice processing facility out there by outside of Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Yeah,
Uh can't remember their name right now, but they family out of Northern Virginia. They went to Virginia Tech. I didn't know that. You know, Virginia Tech is an ag school.
yeah. That's because I had a few partners that went, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea until I met this brother. I can't remember his name at all right now, but I remember
Great.
we went out there to meet with him. There's a picture on my Instagram. I'm standing in front of this big green machine that spits out the rice husks in the bag, and I'm
Mhm.
standing there. I'm eating like this, like some little country ass plate that I got from this little shack out there. It was delicious. Uh, but bro was talking to me, right? He was asking me about, my connection with HISD and if I could get him close to the school district so they could sell his rights to the school district.
Mhm.
It was me and another brother who had just retired from the army, and he was in the procurement. He was in procurement, and he was in procurement to buy food for the army.
Mhm.
And so, him and I were there. He was trying to get into the army, but also trying to get in HISD. He was talking to me about how hard it is for black farmers, like doing business with the USDA. Um,
Yeah.
and that kind of brings me to my question. They got John Boyd Jr., right? Like, like John Boyd, like, when I see him, he seemed like, I'm saying, one of them old school brothers that are slap five if you say the wrong
I know.
thing.
Big and wow.
Yeah, like he a chick. You know what I'm saying? Say something
You know,
real
he got
crazy.
that slick back too.
Like, yeah, he stay with that hat on. He just super, like, like if anybody had to think about what a cowboy look like, a cowboy looks like John Boyd Jr.,
Right, right.
like straight up. But he is such a champion for black farmers and black ag. Like, and, I've been seeing him all around talking about how black farmers getting the short end of the stick.
Right.
Like with them not being able to fix their supplies. Because John Deere is operating like Apple. They're
Yeah.
making you, which is crazy, right? Because like fixing a tractor has to be extremely expensive.
Bro, I just fixed the starter this week, and yeah, it was about $300-400. And if I would have gotten a new one, it would have been 1,000 some dollars. And I need to plant next week. So, am I going to wait to spend this 1,000, or I'm gonna spend this 300? And I need to spend this 300 because I need to plant. And if I'm late on planting, I mean I might be late on, if I don't have contracts right now,
Yeah,
but I do sell, wholesale. So I want to be able to gauge it, that I know 60 days, 70 days, boom, I got a crop coming out the ground. I could be able to tell whoever I'm selling to or market that,
yeah,
or to who's already pre-bought however many acreage could know.
yeah.
So
So,
it be like
so
that.
what is it like, like, being in agriculture and having to deal with the USDA, especially with the Trump administration? Like, how is that like affecting you? And like, what do you see? How do you see that affecting like other black farmers?
um, well, my case is a little bit different, and I always say this, but I do know for sure a lot of individuals who have dealt with discrimination with the USDA. I worked for the
Hmm.
USDA, so in the government. So I see it from two or three different perspectives, and I see, because I know this is kind of where I'm at as it relates to us as just black people and black farmers in general. I mean, it's a lot of wrongs that have happened to us, and there's a lot of mishaps within the system. But also, it's a lot that we need to do and be educated on, so we're not put in this position, and so that we can be able to move forward in this next generation.
Hmm.
So yeah, typically in the USDA, you have people in county offices. So if you're driving through all these little towns in America, every city or state, you got USDA offices, and usually they have NRCS and FSA, the federal loans individuals, the farm loans, the farm service agencies.
Yeah.
Well, you have to get a farm number from NRCS, right, to be able to even apply for any farm service agency programs, whether it's for commodities, for cows, for drought assistance, all that. You got to go to NRCS first, right? So they are the entryway, the first person they see. So if you don't get, your farm number, your information from them, or if they're rejecting you or playing around with you, you're never going to make it to the farm service agency, right? Which is next door, right? And the farm service agency is the people that, even if you do make it next door, right, it's a list of requirements, right? So the USDA gives out grants and loans. As long as you don't make more than $1 million, you're going to qualify very little to low non-interest rates. And so that's what usually happens, that they might deny paperwork for whatever reason. You might never meet with the county person with the NRCS, and that's what happened a lot. And even if you did even meet the loan process and get the loan and do everything, it still has to be certified. And if they show and see that no part of that certification process happened, you went through that whole process for nothing, and you still might owe them some money, right? Or your farm or land might be used as collateral. So that's what has happened with the Black farmers, right, in America. Right? Either we have been shut in and shut out at the door, either we went through the process and paperwork was missing or something was wrong with the paperwork, or at the end we had bad certification processes, right? And usually with farmers, you're dealing with men who, are a bit older. Most of them aren't educated. They've been doing this on their family land for multi-generations or whatever. And, they're just trying to make it work, right? And that's why I said this is where we come in and the education come in, and to tie this back to that family land that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
How many family land is in heirs property, or nobody came back to take that land on? Nobody came back to work the farm or figure out what kind of industry or development we can have with houses and do all these things. They left the big city like my mama. Left the country, came to the big city like my mama, and started working to have a better life. So the farm usually gets sold out, or they get tricked out of their land, right? Or get tax beaten because we didn't come together as Black people and pay the taxes. And that's why I said I don't want to be too much on what everybody has done wrong to us. It's a lot that we did wrong within our families and our systems, by default, and some of them were like forced. So I think this is where we are right now, right?
Yeah.
Right. And even in the cities as well. Like, again, why would a developer, right, let me want, or I'm not gonna say the Houston Land Bank because that's my homegirl, but
shout out to Crystal.
Shout out to Crystal.
Shout out to
Crystal. And they did a lot of urban ag stuff too as well. But I'm saying, is it more important to put an urban farm on a lot in the middle of third ward to feed a few people or some people, or put $1 million with, matter of fact, 2? I could get 4 people on this lot.
Yeah.
$1,200 a month.
Yeah.
Come on now. So you ask in the city, it's political nightmare for a politician to pass up on babies, kids, food, and senior citizens, right? So it's the houses, it's the money. Houston went from this to this, #1 city in the world. They just built 4 houses on my street in Sunnyside this week alone, like finished up. $400,000 homes, right? All my neighbors, they've been here for years. Their taxes went up. My taxes went up. So come on, like, it's about money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? But now it don't matter if you Black, white, Hispanic, whatever your socioeconomic, everybody getting the bad food and everybody messed up right now.
Yeah.
So now we as a society, right, and grassroots organizations and families have to really sit down and have this conversation. What is more important, right? Our health or our wealth?
Yeah.
And even if it is our wealth, how can we build more systems with our wealth and our resources to be able to make sure we are healthy, right? You have way more women who or people that don't do any drugs, that work out, and living a great lifestyle that's having cancer and all kind of other diseases as well. So it's not just the person that's eating bad because they're in the hood or broke. It's people who got money that's getting affected by our food system.
Mm-hmm.
So everything right now is tying back to what this country was founded on: agriculture. And do
Yeah.
we leave, you know, what we've known and what we've built up for an easy, convenient life in the city?
Yeah. So, thinking of, speaking about the family, right? Like, you know, what what could we do? What could we be doing better with the children? Right? We talked about the kids earlier, FFA stuff like that. My daughter just started pre-K. Right? She go to
Like,
Lockhart. You know what I mean? Like, right here in the neighborhood. But as a parent, you know what I mean, especially as an inner city parent, I don't know much about, you know, how to involve her into something like that, right? Especially, like around here, right? Like, so if there are, parents of, fourth, fifth, sixth graders listening and stuff like that,
right.
maybe their kid might not be interested in football or soccer. They might, want to they got a little science interest in them. How could you encourage them to put their kids in a position to be future farmers one day, or food scientists or something like that?
I'm glad you said that, man. So, HISD did some great things, even though they done a lot of crazy stuff. They did
Yeah.
one good, great thing that I think is going to go on for future generations. Is they're kind of like their nutrition service department. They started a farm on Makawa, but they are starting to institutionalize school gardening to where like they're doing more culinary programs, they're building more gardens at every school, they're doing more training for for their teachers as well, and they also HISD and no matter if all districts in the school state of Texas are supposed to be spending at least 20% of their budget going forward, from the farm to school program. They're supposed to be spending their money with local farmers and producers. So
Okay.
this has been stuff that's been in the works for 2-3 years that we're probably going to see going forward, into beyond. Um, but I think really one is just coming back. Like you remember, like when we were growing up, that survival type stuff. Like if we had batteries, the batteries dead, put them in the refrigerator,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
or
yeah.
we have starch, so let me go get some flour and water or something. Like I think it's going back to teaching just little small survival stuff. Like even you don't got to be the master at it, But hey, you do need to know if a hurricane come in the city flood and every every grocery store closed. Like I know how to grow food, or I know how to search and look for food, right? So
Yeah.
maybe at least once a year, let me try to grow something, or let me just pull up at the farmer's market or farm, or know with what where beef, chicken, where my food comes from.
But are there any black people that are teaching like foraging and stuff like that, like around here?
Yeah, no, they do have forest groups. Oh man, Justin Duncan. I'm in Austin right now. He's teaching tomorrow. He's been teaching foraging for years.
You
But
said
I think
Justin Duncan?
Justin Duncan. You
Duncan,
know,
yeah, yes. I just
yeah,
when we clip this, there's gonna be a picture of him. So I want to make sure we're
yeah.
saying his name right.
Rocco, he's an herbalist. I mean, he went to Prairie View as well. Prairie View Extension Department has a lot of programs just about growing food and foraging. I mean, it's a lot of groups out there. And to further answer your question, it goes back to that thing about this next generation making it cool.
Yeah,
Uh, Everything that's on TikTok trending. But look again, I make regular music and I make educational rap music. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Or my homegirl Ivy, right? She had her agriculture clothing line. So I think when we make these videos and all that, it's journalism. You
yeah,
know, things like aquaponics, hydroponics, using drones, you right, to be able to farm. They have crypto, right? Different agriculture based crypto. So I think it's a lot of
they
like,
gotta add crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's crazy, right? So
Let's
I
talk
was
about him.
like, I need, no, I'm saving that for the last 10 minutes because I'd have talked about weed this whole time. Uh, right,
That's
like,
game though.
right, like, but so one of my mentors, he was by trade, he a commodities trader,
That's what I
right?
want to do.
Yo, I'm gonna have to introduce you to bro. I'm gonna have to introduce you to him. Like, cause you understand the commodities. Maybe we can get together, bro. We could do it together, right?
Right.
Because you know what I mean. I understand, right? I understand supply and demand like crazy. If I could track the commodities, you know what I mean. If I knew that pork butts was $3 yesterday, and like 3 years ago they was $3 on this day, but they shot up to $4,
Right,
I'll put
right.
my money on that.
The price of beef right now. Look, the price is
Yeah,
going high because of the tariffs, or look at they got this mealworm or whatever with the Texas cattle in their feet and their hooves. So the price of beef, our imports are going to be huge, but our exports are low right now. Right, so this is like uh, because you kind of know a little bit about ag or what's going on in the economy, it'll make it easier for you to trade, commodities. You know,
yeah, I ain't really figured it out. But that's something that we could talk about off camera. We could definitely, what I'm saying, talk about the hemp industry. You know what I mean? We got some time. For those of you who don't know, in Texas, you can get to up to like 18 years to life for a pound of THCA hemp. The stuff that was just legal, maybe about a week ago. It was all good just a week
right?
ago. It's not all good now. You know what I mean? They handing out felonies like scarlet letters, right, for hemp, for the stuff that they were selling in the gas station. Now, I will say y'all shouldn't have been buying that trash anyway.
Anyway,
I am not even gonna lie, you should be ashamed of yourself.
you
If
got
you
a
was
headache.
going to the gas station and you was buying them pre-rolls and you was buying that old nasty ass flour, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Get on them
Like,
shells all year for
dog,
that
like
lower
you
dollars.
shouldn't be smoking that, like, and granny,
Yeah,
forgive me, right? You shouldn't be smoking weed anyway. But if you're gonna smoke weed, okay, you're gonna smoke hemp, you're gonna participate in this, at least intake something that is gonna be good. The stuff at the gas station, they are storing it poorly. That's first. Some of it is so old, you don't know when it came to harvest, right? Like, because marijuana, hemp, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever you want to call it, it is it's a crop. Right. It's actually, in my opinion, and Jeremy, you can stop me if I'm wrong, it is actually the last crop that has not been conquered by the masses that black people still have access to be able to build wealth for themselves in the farming industry. Because the powers that be have not figured out how to put their arms around the marijuana industry or the hemp industry, all of these industries together. And there are so many businesses, ancillary businesses, actually selling the flower, being an accountant, making bags. Like, it's not even
yeah,
just like the smoking of the weed.
right,
It
right,
is
right.
right now. They've putting it in sodas. They putting it in candy. They putting it
Yeah.
in your butter. They putting it in your pasta. They're
So,
putting it in everything. So many, because so many people don't want to smoke, right? They don't want their lips to turn black. They don't want their fingers to be black. So they're trying to find other ways to consume.
right, right,
But the state of Texas gave everybody the swift middle finger and said the stuff, right? Because like Jeremy spoke about the farm bill, right? The 2018 farm bill put a loophole in the system
right.
that made it so that everybody that was selling packs of California can flood the entire country with weed. Because
Mhm.
all cannabis and hemp is made from the cannabis sativa ale plant.
It's the same
It's
thing.
the same
It's,
thing.
it's no difference. There's no difference between a regular, it's no difference, period. It grow the same, look the same, and it's some insider information I'm not gonna give, but I mean it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, right? Like, it's the same thing. And right now, we got these laws on the books. It's two totally different laws. Like, it's two totally different things, right? Like, so you can get life for a pound of THCA, which is synthetic. Like, it's like, really, the white boys who came up with the science and told the white boys that is writing the laws, like, this what happened. Like, it's all a big bamboozle.
It is
It
because
is.
look, this is look. Man, it's the same plant, bro.
It's the exact same
It's,
plant.
it's
There's
before it
no
matures, before it crystallizes. Before you get the bud, it's a premature bud that doesn't have the full strength of it growing. It's like it's like you had the baby, but you ain't gave the baby the mama's milk, the colostrum.
That's it. But like it's still the baby, and you
It's
smoke
still the
enough of it,
baby.
it's gonna get you stoned. Like it's not gonna matter because it's the cannabis sativa L plant. And what they told the legislators was, well, yeah, dog, we just grow it in a real dark, cold room, and then we like harvest it at a certain time, and then like that's how we make it like this. So it has like this much THC. Like they're lying. It's weed. Like it is literally weed. They have weed washes in the Northwest where
Yeah,
they got pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of weed in these facilities that they are sending all over the country, and then they are
right.
selling it as THCA hemp, and like because of the 2018 Farm Bill, because there's like the government is all out of whack because they're trying to figure out how to monopolize cannabis, and they grew too much weed. That's what happened. They made
Yeah,
all these they let all of these states go crazy,
yeah.
and they grew so much weed. Like that's why if you go on the stock market right now, if you look at the weed stocks, they have been like teetering. They ain't been able to go up because the
Right.
market
I sold mine.
oversaturated.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
me too.
sold mine because I already know, and I instead, as a replacement, just go invest in the Scotch Miracle Grows or all the supplies
The
needed for the
suppliers,
grow.
right? But these
Yeah,
aren't conversations that we are having in black communities, right? When I lived in Detroit when they legalized cannabis in Detroit. And I saw the people at the dispensary down the street from my neighborhood. I saw them make $1 million in a day. I saw it happen. Right? They became millionaires overnight.
it's funny, and you know what they just did up there? They added like a 20-25% charge or tax.
Yo,
Yo,
they are people
that's
who be
hey,
like oh, I go to legal states and I get my weed. I'm like, you don't know nothing.
you paying taxes.
You paying taxes?
You done paid for a fifth, eighth, three times.
3 times, dog. Like I remember, like I remember like when everything started to be legal and boys would be like, "Yeah, I'm about to go to Vegas and get me some flower. I'm gonna go to California." And you go to Vegas, and you go in them dispensaries and the weed all dry. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's all dry. You try to crumble up, it turn into
yeah.
ash, it turn into powder.
Hey, it
Like it's
reminded me of the Denver era, bro, the Colorado era.
dog.
Boost.
Dog, like, and that's what they were selling in the stores. So they told everybody, all right, cool, y'all can sell the THCA. They were, Dan Patrick got real pissy about it, right? Oh my God, they are selling stuff to kids. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't like when these companies they make these packagings all like kid friendly and it's pink and it's blue and they got anime characters on it and stuff like that. Like that's wrong. They shouldn't do that. Like there definitely should be tighter regulations around it.
No,
Because
for
if
sure. Even how it's grown, like you know what I'm saying. You don't know what chemicals like or did they use. What fertilizer they use. Did they flush it in
no
time
one knows,
right before? So it's like you don't. It's just the same thing that's happening with the weed is the same thing going on with the food.
it's same things happening with the
It's no
food. You
difference.
you
They
don't
both
know.
agriculture products too.
It is
So
because you gotta consume it with your mouth.
you have to. It's like
Pause.
taking a pause. Yeah, that part. You feel me? But yeah, I mean, I'm glad we having this conversation because I'm like, man, when is anybody gonna have this conversation?
I
It's
mean,
like the biggest things that and I'm just talking to the black community. Come on, like yeah, I know we go burn some green. We go, and people ain't even drinking alcohol like that no more.
people
They
not
all
drinking
burn.
alcohol like that. People are
So
over
it's
the
like
alcohol.
but think about it though, man. If we was growing a little bit more of our own food, a little bit more of our own green, maybe even making our own wines and alcohol, man, it'll be way more fresh. And I think that's what I know our forefathers had that was better than us. Everything they had was fresh. Now they had hard times, but and they had to set the foundation for us. But it's like, man, we gotta take back control of like what we put in our bodies, or at least know. I'm not. I'll be benign to say that we can completely 100% track. Because if you go to a restaurant or go out to eat, you just don't know.
You have no idea. You have no idea. And that's why everybody walking around here looking like Oompa Loompas. Because all of the food makes you inflamed. Your gut microbiome is jacked up.
Right, right,
They smoking booth weed.
right,
Like, and they trying to get you to drink more. Cause like he said, they not drinking. The alcohol lobby is who paid Dan Patrick to give everybody felonies for having some THCA flower. Because the
for real.
THCA, yeah, bro, Dan Patrick
It's not
is
working for him. Ain't old girl beating him in the polls right now?
no. So that's Greg Abbott. Now I
Oh,
don't
that's
know,
great.
like so. I'm hopeful that Gina will beat Greg Abbott, but Greg is not. Dan Patrick is the one who has been on the crusade for the weed, and everybody know that it's Dan Patrick. So
Yeah,
like they are trying right now to put all the blame on the Republicans, but like the Republicans are kind of going, it's him, right? It's not
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
him. And they pointing at Dan right now. Like Greg is pointing at Dan. Like
Yeah,
like that's what happened the first time when
yeah,
Dan
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Oh my God," Greg was like, "Hold up, player,
yeah.
what my people smoke this? Like, what you mean? Like people got businesses." And Dan was like, "I don't give a damn.
And
Like the
Greg
Lord
mean
told me to get rid of this." And then Greg was like, "Wait, we got to get reelected." And Dan was like, "I'm on a mission from God."
that is exactly what happened.
Yes,
The re-election.
that is what happened. Like, and Dan is the Lord told Dan that weed is taking Texas to hell. And Greg Abbott is like, I want to get reelected. I don't know what God told you, but God told me I'm supposed to serve another term. So they are button heads. And what I told people a long time ago, and they was like, yo, what about the hemp industry? I said, once the government starts messing with the white people who invest in it, the white people are going to go to the government and say, hold up now, player.
No cap.
What's going on? And that's exactly what happened. So now you got to let them fight it out. Like,
Right.
but the the Christian nationalist evangelicals, they not
Right.
having it. They
At
not
all.
having it.
You know,
No, they're not having it.
In the Bible state, Bible Belt, you look at the whole South. I mean, I don't think nobody has legalized in the whole
Now,
South.
I mean, like Louisiana, you can get you some flour in Louisiana. They got whole billboards in
TSCA.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
1-800 weed. You driving down I-10. It's crazy. They got all them boys in the chain gang in Angola, but you can call
Oh
1-800
yeah,
weed.
LSU. Yeah,
Yeah,
LSU. I
yeah,
mean,
like yeah, like you
Southern.
can, yeah, you can buy a lot of weed in Louisiana. I don't get it. Like Arkansas, you can buy weed in Arkansas. They got a legal thing going on in Arkansas. Louisiana, you can buy some weed. Florida, you can buy some weed.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, Texas is really just behind. Like they're most like you can
Yeah.
you can get you a little weed pretty much everywhere. But the thing that I would like to employ upon black people is I'm not telling anybody to be a drug user or abuser.
Right.
That's not what I'm getting at. What I am saying is the cannabis sativa L plant is an asset to society in more ways than just intoxication. And there needs to be a concerted effort amongst black people to educating the masses of us about the economic benefits that come from this plant. Right?
Right.
Like we did not get a stake in tobacco, we did not get a stake in cotton, we did not get a stake in sugar cane, we didn't get a stake in anything. And at
Mm.
this moment in time, we do have the ability to collectively plant our flag amongst those who are going to invest in cannabis, whether you are making textiles, whether you are making medicines for people with epilepsy, whether you are helping elderly people with their pains by creating topicals. You do not have to be a drug dealer. Cannabis has evolved way past 1995 or what you thought it was in 1979. And until you can see past the bushes, just like with AI or anything else that is new that may be scary, we are constantly going to be stuck behind the eight ball because we cannot imagine another reality for ourselves other than what they have put forth in front of us before.
No, you just gave the full synopsis. The only thing you missing that I would love to add is look how many people been in prison for this that you would have to let go if you change the law. If they
Yeah,
change it, well, I think the orange man is going to do it federally and make it legal. Okay, but if the states go behind it, look how many people that got 1 gram, 5 gram, a couple pound, 3 pound cases that's been in jail 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Like they trying to figure out how to replace the money in the jail part, right?
yeah,
And full taxable. Like they can go up on licenses all day, but you got to do like what California did. They created so many recidivism programs and let so many people out of jail for the weed. And, a state like Texas that has locked so many people up for that.
so many people.
You have to change. You have to let them out after you change the law. And most of them are like, most weed crimes are non-violent crimes. Like these guys, the most they'll do is go eat a few wing dinners or
Take a
something
nap.
and go to
Take a
sleep.
nap.
So I think that is the one big underlining factor that I think they're not ready for or don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Is the legalities of it, not just the financial side, but from the prison side, the
Yeah.
jails, all these small little counties. Look how many people went to jail in Waller County for 1, 2 grand. Like, man, you take that away,
The
it's over
homies is
with.
going to jail every day in school for like a
Mhm.
gram or two. Like just every day
For some Reggie.
for some regular weed. They ain't hurt nobody. They just sitting amongst the corn,
Yeah,
smoking a little joint,
and I
and
think
now they going to jail.
yeah, look what the city of Houston just doing or did. Like for their DAs not to really to tackle low level crimes, or if you have less than a few ounces to let it go. It's like it's 2026. Like if we can have free you, I just feel like we're in a society now where like nobody can tell me or the government should say what I can and can't do, especially as long as I'm paying taxes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're battling with. How are you going to tell me? For those who choose to, be of different sex or that, what I could do. How can you tell me what I can and can't ingest or put in my body?
Yeah.
And that would be like so anti-Texas because Texas just was built on so much on being independent and having
Freedom.
our own. Like that's our culture here. Like the slabs, everything. Like you got a purple slab, I got a red one. You know what I'm saying? You doing your thing, I'm doing mine. Like I don't think we should be. I think we'll be losing Texas if we start to put them handcuffs on people, and with so many people from other places like Cali and New York is coming here, and I think those are going to be the people who change the paradigm for us. Fortunately and unfortunately.
I mean, well, I hope that there's a brighter future for cannabis, for black cannabis entrepreneurs and black cannabis users, people who are looking for relief, whether it's mental relief, whether it's physical relief. Like I think that personally, my mama passed away from breast cancer. And I was a staunch cannabis supporter then, to help alleviate the pain that she was having, also to be able to help her to have an appetite and stuff like that. So,
Right,
alternative medicines, ways to heal ourselves. I mean, there's just so much misinformation about these things that we can use to help ourselves and enrich ourselves that was fed to us by people who don't look like us, because
mm-hmm.
they don't want us to enjoy ourselves and be and detached from the systems that they have us attached to, right? All of the
Right.
drugs, Prozac, Xanny, the pain pills, and things
Herbs.
like that, right? But they won't give you a little flower, right? They won't crush up they won't give you a keef pill, right? That you can just take. There's so many different things that can happen, but we got to be able to have like holistic and honest conversations about like how people are afraid of like what can happen as far as like being introduced to cannabis. Because you should be afraid being introduced to that pain pill that the doctor is going to give you.
Yeah, no,
You should be afraid of that
with
pain
them
pill.
30 different side effects and
Right, you know what I mean? They
other
on the
illnesses.
commercial talking like this is gonna and diarrhea and headaches and
Yeah,
bloody stool, right? Like, but Zyla Calafield, right? Like, you know what I
right,
mean?
right, right. some stuff
Like
you ain't
what?
never heard of. Matter of fact, after you take it, you got two more different illnesses, or it might not mix with something.
Dog, I
Um,
got high blood pressure. And my doctor gave me some high blood pressure medicine that made my vision blurry. I threw that shit down the toilet so fast and
yeah,
called him and
right,
was like, hold up, fam. Like,
right. This did the opposite.
like I already
Yeah,
have
I
a
can
problem.
see.
Like I can see, dog. Like this is root. Like nah, player. Nah. I'm gonna have to find another way to deal with this because you ain't finna take me out. Like
Yeah,
you gonna
I'll
turn
step
me into
in
Stevie
quick.
Wonder, dog. Like cause I got high blood pressure. Like this is crazy. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing
Bro,
that.
it is so true though.
Nah,
Yeah.
bro,
It's
it's
true.
insane, dog. He was like, "What?" You know, he an African guy. What Christian? I'm like, no, dog, no.
No, no.
we
What?
we're not doing
What?
this. We're not doing this. I couldn't see, bro. I couldn't see. I was pissed off. Like I could not see, bro. Like I took that medicine. You told me it's gonna make me feel better. Now, damn near went blind.
Yeah.
Like what is this? Why? Why? What are you trying to do to me? I was pissed off. Like,
Well,
but they won't
man.
let you smoke a little weed. Like
Nah, but don't even get me started on the doctors, man. It's all about selling the medicine, man. The pharmaceutical industry, man. It's all about
that's what it's all about. That's all
selling
it's all
selling
about.
medicine. I don't what doctor nurse like they gotta sell that medicine, man. That's their job.
Yeah, I
You
mean, and
know.
I ain't mad at it, bro. And and I have been looking up the more holistic doctors, stuff like that. People who will, like and they have those kind of doctors. They just like, not, there's not very many of them, but
Right,
they try to, prescribe you more natural ways to heal your ailments and things like that.
right,
And
right.
I really wish that those were the people that were going into our churches and our legacy institutions and talking to our elders instead of them having a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday pill container where they got to eat the poison, give it to them by, what I'm saying, the oppressor.
Yeah.
But,
And they paying for it. You
and it's high. It's high. Insurance high, dog. It's real high. It's too high, man. But this is why it's important. This is why what you do, Jeremy, is important because more black people need to know about what they're
Mhm.
putting inside their mouth, bro. Because like your mouth is the portal to your soul, bro.
Yeah, it
Like, and
is. It is.
we don't really talk about that enough. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna pause that. Like, like you, whatever you eat, bro, whatever you smoke, whatever you drink, that like that substance is gonna touch every part of you, bro. It's gonna meet you at a cellular level.
Yeah.
And if you
Bloodstream.
don't really understand your connection to the land and your connection to nature and how God created all of these things to work together, right? Like for your good. Like
Hmm.
you are going to do yourself and your body a disservice because you not going to properly take care of yourself. Like,
Right.
and we are beyond ignorant when it comes to that, right? Because like you say, granny and them, mama and them left the country and they came to the city and they got away from the soil. And
Hmm.
as things progress, them those natural remedies and things like that, they went away.
Big Mama making tea from the tree, from the
Right
tea
from the
leaves, and
chamomile, she going outside and pulling up
yeah.
grass, and you nervous because you finna drink grass stew, but all the while your stomach ain't
Mhm.
gone. You know what
She
I
been
mean?
healing. I mean, it's inherent with us. As you look at most people of color or cultures, they've always had some grave spirituality and connection to like herbs and medicinal medicines. You know what I'm saying? If you look at our Asian cultures and brothers and sisters, they always had those herbal medicines and tea shops.
Yeah,
My Latino Aztec brothers and sisters, with the Palo Azul, all those different remedies. Mama had hot toddy,
yeah,
with a little yakky. So just like we just gotta. All I'm saying is, hey man, know it and get back to it a little bit. I don't say
yeah,
you gotta be like me or the next person and make this like your daily life, but like you said, there's herbs out there that you don't have that you can make your own tinctures and medicines and just get back to doing in the history of knowing, where you came from and what they did back then at that time. And that is that's half the battle. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
we'll be so far ahead if we did what Big Mama and them was doing, and we ain't understood. Like But we didn't know why they was doing it because back then a lot of times they just did stuff,
Yeah,
without necessarily explaining. But like you was talking about your daughter earlier, like, man, hey, show her 1-2 times. It don't got to be like y'all lifestyle, but hey, long as
yeah, yeah.
rather be prepared than not.
You better stay ready so you don't got to get ready. You know what I mean? Like I've been watching a lot of 7 streams on Instagram. That Baltimore accent be motivating the shit out of me.
Yeah.
7 streams.
Supreme God,
Yeah.
supreme being.
Yo, he spitting though. He be spitting, man. He be
Yeah,
spitting. I'm gonna try me a cloudy donut when I go to DC. Uh,
yeah.
but man,
Ben's chili bell vegan dog.
what?
Yeah. Vegan.
Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I've been neglecting the chat. Shout out to Sierra, Keisha, Dr. Brown, Don. Appreciate y'all. They said we having a great conversation.
Yeah.
Dr. Brown, we was talking about weed. Dr. Brown said they put crack in the community. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So they could put us in jail. Now crack is a felony. I mean, now weed is a felony. It's a disservice to the people. It's a disservice to America. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, great American patriots like Willie Nelson and Cheech and Chong and Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa and you know what I'm saying? They have fought.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Devin the Dude. They have fought for our right to puff all night. And
Yeah.
now their hard work is it's up in smoke.
No pun intended.
Oh yeah, nah, like Don said, oh, she should switch a little brown alcohol. For sure, you was drunk too, and you was sleepy.
Mm-hmm. And they had the remedies, man.
Had
Hey,
your
but
remedies.
you could put ginger and turmeric also on your toothache, and see that heals and kind of numbs the inflammation. So
Mm,
again, shoot, it's a reason for everything. Like it's how God created a lot of stuff for us to use.
amen. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. But we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap things up. Jerm, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
This was great, man. I really I'm sure that there are so many things that people can learn from this conversation. Y'all see
Yeah.
Jeremy's Instagram. It is scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. Fresh Life Germo, Fresh Life Organic. If you are looking to learn anything about food, hit my man up. If you want to learn how to do hydroponics, farming with drones, automation,
All of it.
all of it, man. This is you know what I'm saying, the 2026 version of George Washington Carver right here.
Oh man, that's an honor. That's an honor
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Negroes have done great things, you know what I'm saying? From the
Yeah.
peanut to beyond. You know what I
They
mean?
done
Like,
everything.
yeah, man. And,
They
and when
just
me and
added
Jeremy
it first.
find out this commodities trading thing, we gonna get back together. We're gonna bring that back to the people because we're gonna sell some pork butts together as the community.
Church.
Yes. But I appreciate it, Jern.
All
Man,
right,
thank
bro.
you so
Man.
much, dog. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get this, dog. I'm gonna drop a clue bomb for
Uh,
you. It's been politics with Pam. My mama named me Christian, but you know what it is. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Peace.